Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you pros and cons of a stacked guinea pig cage. So let's get started. Since we moved, I built a stacked cage for my guinea pigs, and I realized that there are pros and cons to a stacked cage versus a cage either on the floor or a cage that has storage underneath. So I decided to make a video on it because I feel like this would be so helpful for people to see if they actually want to build one for themselves. I also asked people on Instagram for their opinion, so I will also be using their opinions for this video. I am first going to be starting off with the pros of this cage. One pro of a stacked guinea pig cage is that it definitely is a space saver. This is especially helpful if you have a lot of guinea pigs yet a smaller space to work with. You can easily just stack a bunch of cages and have guinea pigs on the top and on the bottom. To go along with the first pro, and I've kind of mentioned it, is that you can always add more piggies. You don't always have to just expand the cage, you can always make multiple and put them side by side. The next pro is that it is easier to move around. If you have a longer cage, it definitely might be a bit harder to move around, but if you have a cage like mine, it is so easy to pull out and sweep behind it because I always do that and find hay because hay literally gets everywhere. When I had the cage with storage underneath it and when it was so long, it was extremely hard to move because there's always hay underneath it and around it, and it was just extremely hard to sweep under it and get all the hay. The last pro is definitely one of my favorites, and it is just so aesthetically pleasing. Stacked cages, in my opinion, look super duper nice, and I absolutely love the style of it. And I love the fact that you can put lights literally underneath one cage, and it lights up the bottom cage so well. So now I'm just going to be putting up what people have said. They've pretty much said what I've said, but here are their responses from Instagram. And now we're going to move on to the cons. Starting off with the con that I always hit my head on the bottom cage, especially if I'm cleaning it. Like, I've done that so many times and it hurts, and yeah, I just don't like that fact that I hit my head every time I go into the cage to spot clean or fully clean or whatever. The next con is that there is absolutely no storage whatsoever, especially if you have so many guinea pig things like I have, because I've been collecting things since 2013, so the amount of stuff I have for my guinea pigs is insane, and it is really hard to find the storage and the place to put everything because now I don't have storage underneath my cage. So like I said, it's just extremely hard to find a place for everything. The next con is that it can be hard to clean the top layer, especially for shorter people. My grids are 14 inches, so it is still pretty hard for me to reach the top. I always have to stand on my tippy toes to get to the back of the cage. So yeah, that's definitely a con. And the last con is that if you don't build your cage right, it can definitely be unsturdy and it will probably fall on you, which is not good for you or the guinea pigs. I have a video on how I built my cage, and if you haven't watched it already, I recommend you watch it because it really shows how much zip ties I actually used. And this is definitely a pro tip, is to use a ton of zip ties wherever the grids connect. Use a zip tie. I don't care if you don't think it needs it, I recommend just putting a zip tie because you just don't know. And now I'm going to put on the screen what people have said for cons for a stacked guinea pig cage. So that is going to be it for today's video. I hope this video was helpful for anyone who is interested in having a stacked cage. Anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.